Do-yun held tight to his rover as it bounced across the rough ground. Behind him, the bison herd ran with power and purpose. Thundercloud led them, his massive head lowered like a battering ram. The alien dome grew larger ahead. Guards noticed the approaching herd and raised their weapons. "Now, Thundercloud," Do-yun shouted. "Now." As if understanding, the great bull let out a thunderous bellow. The entire herd sped up. The ground shook with their hooves. Inside the main collective ship, Juwoo, Minji, and Baiol moved carefully through strange corridors. The patterns on their arms kept them hidden from the aliens who passed by. "We need to find the central system," Minji whispered. She held the bottle of blue enzyme tightly. Baiol studied markings on the walls. "This way." The patterns show energy flowing that direction. They followed her lead, moving deeper into the ship. They passed rooms filled with stolen life from Earth, plants, animals, even people in strange sleep tubes. "They're taking everything," Juwoo said, her voice shaking with anger. At the alien dome, chaos erupted as the bison herd smashed through the outer walls. Guards fired their weapons, but the huge animals kept coming. Do-yun drove his rover right through the broken wall, following Thundercloud. Inside, aliens ran in panic. The bison knocked over machines and trampled collection tubes. Wherever their hooves touched the alien technology, it seemed to fail and break down. The enzymes in their bodies, Do-yun realized. They're already breaking down the alien tech. On the main ship, the three women reached a large round room. In the center stood a glowing pillar that reached from floor to ceiling. "That's it," Minji said. "The central system. It connects to all their ships across Earth." "How do we use the enzyme?" Juwoo asked. Minji pointed to tubes running into the pillar. "We need to put it in there, but we'll need to break the outer shell first." As they moved toward it, a voice spoke behind them. "You should not be here." They turned to see a collective leader, taller and bluer than the others they had seen. With him stood Yunho Park, his eyes completely empty now. "Humans cannot stop the harvest," the alien said. "Your world has been ours for millions of years. This is just another cycle." "Not this time," Juwoo said. She nodded to Baiol, who pulled out a small tool they had made from Thundercloud's horn. At the dome, Do-yun and the bison had destroyed most of the collection facility. Alarms blared. In the center of the dome, Thundercloud stood over a strange machine, pawing at it repeatedly. Do-yun jumped off his rover and ran to the bull's side. "What is it, old friend?" The machine had a screen showing the main ship. Somehow, Thundercloud knew where the others were and what they needed. "They need more help," Do-yun said, understanding. He put his hand on Thundercloud's side. "What can we do from here?" In answer, Thundercloud lowered his head and touched his horn to the machine. A surge of energy passed between them. On the main ship, the alien leader moved toward the women. "Your resistance is useless. The reset has already begun." Suddenly, all the lights on the ship flickered. The alien looked confused. "Now," Juwoo shouted. Baiol ran forward and used the horn tool to crack the pillar's outer shell. Minji threw the bottle of enzyme inside. The blue liquid spread throughout the system, glowing brighter as it moved. The alien leader screamed, a terrible sound. "You have done the forbidden thing. The harvest will be lost." All around them, the ship began to shake. The alien's body seemed to melt and lose shape. "We need to get out of here," Juwoo shouted. As they ran for the exit, the alien made one final move. He pressed a device on his arm. "If we cannot have this world, no one will," he hissed. The purge pulse is activated. At the dome, Do-yun watched the screen as a massive energy wave began to form around the main ship. "No," he whispered. He knew what it was, a wave that would kill all life on Earth's surface. Thundercloud raised his head and bellowed. The entire herd formed a circle around the machine. Their bodies began to glow with a strange light. Do-yun understood their final purpose. They're going to absorb the pulse. As the energy wave shot from the main ship, the Bison herd, connected somehow to all Bison DNA across time, created a shield that caught the worst of it. The blast was still powerful enough to damage much of Earth, but not enough to kill everything. The price was high. As the pulse faded, Thundercloud and the herd fell to the ground, their ancient task complete. 3 months later, Ju stood on a hill overlooking the reserve. Earth was wounded but healing. The collective was gone, their ships destroyed by their own failing technology. 5 days passed. The world outside grew worse each day. Strange red rain fell in some places. Plants turned brown and died. More animals got sick. Inside Do-hyun's cabin, now their base, Minji worked without stopping. She had turned the small kitchen into a lab. Test tubes and small machines covered every surface. "I've done it," she said finally, holding up a clear bottle filled with light blue liquid. "I've copied the enzyme from Thundercloud's tears and made it stronger." "Will it work against the collective's technology?" Ju asked. "I think so, but we need to get it into their main ship." Do-hyun looked at the bottle. "How much do we need to use?" "All of it, and we need to put it in their central system." Bison, who had been watching the news, called them over. "Look at this." The screen showed Yunho Park. He looked even more empty-eyed than before. "The collective has offered to help with the global sickness," he said in a flat voice. "All citizens must report to collection centers for treatment." "Collection centers?" Do-hyun asked. "They're taking more people under their control," Ju said. "Soon, there will be no one left to fight them." A map appeared on the screen, showing the largest collective ship hovering over New Geneva, the United Government capital. "That's where we need to go," Minji said. "The main ship." "But how?" Bison asked. "It will be heavily guarded." Do-hyun looked out the window at Thundercloud and the herd. An idea formed in his mind. "We'll need a big distraction." That night, they made a bold plan. Ju, Minji, and Bison would go to New Geneva. They would try to get onto the main ship with the enzyme. Do-hyun would stay behind and create a distraction with the Bison herd. "The collective built one of their harvest domes just 10 miles from here," he explained. "If I can lead the herd there, it might draw their attention away from you." "That's too dangerous," Ju argued. "The guards at the dome will shoot you." "Maybe. But Thundercloud and the herd are important to this fight. I think the ancient protectors meant for them to be part of it." The next morning, they said goodbye. Ju hugged her brother tightly. "Be careful," she whispered. "You too," he replied. "Save our world." After they left, Do-hyun went to the herd. Thundercloud seemed to know what was coming. He stood very still as Do-hyun patted his rough side. "It's time, old friend," Do-hyun said. "Time to show the sky thieves what Earth's guardians can do." In New Geneva, Ju, Minji, and Bison found a city under alien control. People walked the streets with empty eyes. Collective ships flew overhead. Guards stood at every corner. "How do we get to the main ship?" Bison whispered. Ju pointed to a line of people entering a large building. "That's a transport station. They're taking workers up to the ship." "But we'll be scanned," Minji warned, holding the precious bottle of enzyme. "I have an idea," Bison said. She had been studying the ancient marks. "There's a pattern that might hide us from their scans." She quickly drew the pattern on their arms with a special ink Minji had made from Thundercloud's hair. It burned slightly on their skin. As the sun began to set, back at the reserve, Do-hyun rode his rover toward the alien dome. Behind him, Thundercloud led the entire herd, 37 bison, running with surprising speed and purpose. In New Geneva, the 3 women passed through the transport station without being stopped. The guards' eyes seemed to slide past them, not seeing them. Soon, they were on a transport ship heading up to the massive collective vessel. "It worked," Minji said in wonder, looking at the pattern on her arm. The ancient protectors knew the collective's weaknesses. As their small transport approached the main ship, they saw it clearly for the first time. It was enormous, like a floating city in the sky. Look, Bison pointed to a screen inside their transport. It showed a news report of a bison herd attacking an alien dome in Montana. At the front, riding his rover, was Doyan. The distraction has begun, Ju said, gripping the enzyme bottle tightly. Now we need to find the heart of their ship. The transport docked. Doors opened. They stepped into the belly of the enemy's fortress, carrying Earth's last hope. We need to tell everyone what's happening, Ju said. The three of them were back in Doyan's cabin, looking at the pictures and recordings from the alien dome. Doyan shook his head. Who would believe us? The news shows people all over the world welcoming the collective. They think the aliens are saving Earth. We could go to the United Government, Bison suggested. No, Ju said firmly. They're already under collective control. Did you see Yunho's eyes? Something happened to him. To all the world leaders who work with the aliens. They sat in silence, the weight of their knowledge heavy on them. We need help, Doyan finally said. Someone who can understand the science of what the collective is doing. Ju thought for a moment. I know someone. Minji-san. She's a genetic engineer who worked with me on the space station. She studies how DNA can be changed. Can you trust her? Bison asked. Yes. She was asking questions about the collective before I left. She didn't trust them either. Ju made a secure call. 2 hours later, they picked up Minji from a small airfield nearby. She was a quiet woman with sharp eyes and quick movements. I've been waiting for someone to call me, Minji said after hearing their story. Strange things are happening in the labs. Plants dying for no reason. Animals getting sick. The reset has started, Ju said. Show me everything you have, Minji replied. They returned to the cabin and shared all their information. Minji studied the pictures of thunderclouds marks with great interest. This is amazing, she said. The patterns in the dirt match patterns in DNA. Whoever changed these bison thousands of years ago was very advanced. Can you understand what the marks mean? Doyan asked. Maybe. I need to study the bison more closely. Can I see Thundercloud? They walked to the field where the herd grazed. When Thundercloud saw them coming, he walked over slowly. His big dark eyes watched Minji with what seemed like hope. Hello, old one, she said softly. You've been carrying a secret for a very long time, haven't you? She took samples of his hair and tears. Back at the cabin, she used a portable lab kit to study them. This is unlike anything I've seen, she said after hours of work. His DNA contains a hidden sequence, like a message or a weapon. A weapon? Bison asked. Yes, I think the ancient protectors who changed these animals left us more than a warning. They left us a way to fight back. Doyan looked out the window. Dark clouds were gathering. The weather had been strange since the collective arrived. How can bison DNA be a weapon? He asked. It's not the DNA itself, Minji explained. It's what it can make. Thundercloud's tears contain enzymes that might be able to break down the collective's biological technology. Ju's eyes widened. That's why they stayed away from the herd. The bison are dangerous to them. But we need more, Minji said. We need to get these enzymes into their main ships, not just the small domes. As night fell, they made plans. They would collect more samples from Thundercloud, create a larger batch of the enzyme, and find a way onto the collected ships. It won't be easy, Ju warned. The ships are heavily guarded. And we're just 4 people, Bison added. Doyan's phone buzzed with a news alert. The screen showed dead fish washing up on shores around the world, birds falling from the sky. The reporter said it was a new virus. It's starting, Minji said quietly. The reset. Outside, Thundercloud let out a deep bellow that echoed across the plains. One by one, the other bison joined him until the night filled with their cry. Doyan put his hand on the window. We're not just 4 people, he said. We have allies no one would expect. And sometimes, the smallest things can defeat the greatest powers. In the darkness outside, 37 pairs of bison eyes watched the cabin, waiting for the humans to lead them into battle. Morning came with clear skies. Do-hyun, Ju-woo, and Byul had worked through the night to understand Thundercloud's new marks. "I think I see it now," Byul said, pointing to her drawings. "These first marks were warnings, but these new ones show a map." "A map of what?" Do-hyun asked. "The reserve. And look here." She pointed to a circle with lines coming from it. "I think this shows the alien dome. But there's something underneath it." Ju-woo leaned closer. "We need to find out what's there." They made a simple plan. Ju-woo would use her science badge to get close to the dome. Do-hyun and Byul would watch from the hills with binoculars. As Ju-woo drove toward the alien outpost, Do-hyun's phone buzzed with a news alert. He and Byul watched a video of Yunho Park, Earth's diplomat, standing with the collective leader. "Today, we sign a historic agreement," Yunho announced. His voice sounded flat. His eyes looked empty. "The collective will help save Earth's endangered species. They will take samples to their ships for protection." "That doesn't sound right," Byul said. "No, it doesn't." Do-hyun called Ju-woo to warn her, but she didn't answer. At the alien dome, Ju-woo showed her science badge to the guards. They were humans, but they moved stiffly, like robots. Their eyes had the same empty look as Yunho's. "I'm here to help with the biological survey," she said. The guards let her in. Inside, the dome was filled with strange machines. Aliens moved around, their blue skin glowing under the lights. They were taking plants and small animals from outside and putting them into clear tubes. No one was watching her. Ju-woo moved deeper into the dome. In the center was a round platform. She stepped onto it and felt herself moving down, like an elevator. Underground, she found a huge room filled with thousands of tubes. Each one held something from Earth, plants, insects, water samples. As she watched, a tube with a small fish was scanned by a machine. The fish disappeared, but something that looked like light remained in the tube. "They're taking the genetic information," she whispered to herself. "Not saving the species. Stealing them." She took pictures with her phone. Then she heard voices coming. She hid behind some large containers. 2 aliens walked past. They spoke in English. "The harvest is ahead of schedule," one said. "The humans suspect nothing." "When will we begin the reset phase?" "Soon. The atmospheric adjustments have already started. The first die-offs will begin within days." Ju-woo's hand shook as she recorded their words. She had to get out and warn everyone. On the hill, Do-hyun and Byul watched the dome with growing worry. "She's been in there too long," Do-hyun said. Suddenly, alarms sounded from the dome. They saw Ju-woo running out a side door, guards chasing her. "We'd have to help her." Do-hyun started the rover. They raced down the hill. Ju-woo saw them coming and ran toward the rover. Behind her, the guards fired strange weapons that made the ground smoke where they hit. Byul threw open the rover door. Ju-woo jumped in, and Do-hyun sped away. "What happened?" he asked his sister. "It's worse than we thought," Ju-woo said between deep breaths. "They're not here to help. They're taking genetic samples of everything on Earth. And they're planning to start what they call a reset, killing most life on the planet." "Why would they do that?" Byul asked. "It's how they work. They harvest all biological information, cause an extinction, then come back later to harvest the new species that evolve." Ju-woo showed them the pictures on her phone. They'd done it to Earth before, many times. As they drove back to the cabin, they saw Thundercloud and the herd waiting for them. The old bull pawed at the ground, making new marks. "He's trying to tell us something else," Do-hyun said. "Yes." Ju-woo looked at her brother with fear in her eyes. "I think he's trying to tell us how to fight back." Do-hyun and Byul sat in his small cabin, surrounded by books and tablets. For 3 days, they had been studying the marks Thundercloud made and comparing them to ancient warnings from around the world. "Look at this," Byul said, pointing to her screen. These marks appear in cave paintings from 5 different continents, all made thousands of years apart. Do-hyun rubbed his tired eyes, and they all showed the same thing. Warnings about beings from the sky. Yes, the stories are always similar. Beings who come from the stars, pretend to be friends, then steal something precious from the world. Outside, rain fell on the plains. The bison herd had gathered near the cabin, as if seeking protection. Thundercloud stood closest, his dark eyes watching the windows. Do-hyun's phone buzzed. It was Ju-woo. "I'm at the airport," she said. Her voice was quiet and tense. "Someone's following me. I'll be at the reserve in 3 hours if I can lose them." "Be careful," Do-hyun said. "We'll be waiting." After the call ended, Bison showed Do-hyun a new file on her tablet. "This is interesting. Scientists found something strange in bison DNA 20 years ago, a sequence that doesn't match any other animal." "What does it mean?" Do-hyun asked. "They thought it was just random mutation. But look at these." She showed images of DNA from elephants, whales, and some insects. They all have similar strange sequences, and these animals are all ancient species that survived multiple extinctions. Do-hyun looked out the window at Thundercloud. "You think someone changed their DNA, made these animals into some kind of warning system? It sounds crazy, but yes. And there's more." Bison pulled up an old painting. "This is from my people. It shows star visitors giving a gift to the animals of Earth. The story says they did this to protect us from the Hollow Makers." 3 hours later, Ju arrived in a small electric car. She looked over her shoulder as she ran through the rain to the cabin. Once inside, she hugged her brother tight. "They know I found something," she said. "The collective has been watching me." She put a small device on the table. It projected a 3D image of Earth, but something was wrong with it. The planet looked hollow inside, with only a thin shell remaining. "This is what I found on their ship," Ju explained. "It's a plan for Earth. They're not here to help us. They're here to take everything." "How?" Do-hyun asked. "They're ecological parasites. They find living planets, extract the core biological information, then trigger extinctions. They'd done it before on Earth." Ju's hand shook as she spoke. "That's why they know so much about our past. They've been here during every major extinction." Bison looked shocked. "They harvest worlds." "Yes. They take all the biological data, store it, then come back later to collect new species that evolved after the extinction. It's like farming planets." Do-hyun thought of Thundercloud's tears. And someone in the past knew this. They changed some animals to warn us. Ju nodded. The bison and other species must have been modified by some other alien race. Protectors who left us a warning system. That's why the bison act strange when the collective is near, Bison said. It's built into their DNA to recognize the threat. Outside, Thundercloud suddenly bellowed. The 3 rushed to the window. In the rain, they could see the bison pawing at the mud, making new marks. "What is he doing?" Ju asked. Bison took pictures with her tablet. "It looks different this time. Not a warning. More like instructions," Do-hyun finished. "He's showing us something." As they watched, lightning flashed in the sky. For a moment, they could see the outline of a collective ship hovering above the reserve. When Thundercloud saw it, he raised his head and let out a long, mournful sound that made Do-hyun's heart ache. "We need to understand those marks," Ju said, her voice firm, "because I think we're running out of time." 2 weeks after the collective arrived, small alien buildings began to appear around Earth. They called them research outposts. 3 of these strange, dome-shaped buildings were built near major cities. One was built just 10 miles from Do-hyun's reserve. Do-hyun watched from a hill as alien machines quickly built the dome. It was made of a shiny material that changed color with the sunlight. The machines finished in just 1 day. "They say it's for studying local plants and animals," said a voice behind him. Do-Yun turned to find a woman standing there. She wore the uniform of the Indigenous Cultural Office. "I'm Byul Han," she said, holding out her hand. "I was sent to make sure they don't damage any historical sites." Do-Yun shook her hand. "Do-Yun Kim. I manage the Bison Reserve." "How are the bison taking all this?" Byul asked, looking toward the herd in the distance. "Not well. Especially the old bull, Thundercloud." Byul's eyes widened. "You named him Thundercloud?" "Yes." "Why?" "In the old stories of my people, Thundercloud was the spirit guide who warned humans about dangers from the sky." She looked at the alien dome. "I don't believe in coincidences, Mr. Kim." That night, Do-Yun received a video call from Juwoo. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Everything," she whispered. She was in a small room with the lights dimmed. "I can't talk long. They might be listening." "The collective." She nodded. "They've given us amazing technology. They're showing us how to fix Earth's climate. Everyone thinks they're wonderful." She leaned closer to the screen. "But I found something strange." "What is it?" "They're collecting information about all of Earth's past extinctions, all 5 of them. And they keep asking about our DNA banks and seed vaults, the places where we store genetic material from endangered species." Do-Yun asked. "Yes. And yesterday, I snuck into a room I wasn't supposed to enter. I saw maps of Earth from different time periods. From before humans existed." Do-Yun felt cold. "How could they have those?" "I don't know. But they looked like they were planning something." The connection started to break up. "I have to go. Be careful, brother." The next morning, Do-Yun and Byul met at the edge of the reserve. She had brought old books and a tablet. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a picture of ancient rock drawings. "These were made thousands of years ago. They show the same marks your bull has been making in the dirt." Do-Yun studied the image. The same circles and lines that Thundercloud had drawn. "What do they mean?" he asked. "The old stories say they're warnings about the sky thieves who steal worlds." Byul flipped through more images. These same warnings appear in ancient texts from people all over the world, people who never met each other. Do-Yun was quiet for a moment. "Let's go see Thundercloud." They found the herd near a small lake. Thundercloud stood apart from the others. When he saw Do-Yun and Byul, he walked toward them, his head low. "He knows you," Byul said, surprised. "We've spent a lot of time together." Do-Yun reached out to touch the bull's rough head, but he's never acted like this before the aliens came. Thundercloud suddenly turned and began pawing at the ground again. This time, the pattern was more complex. Byul gasped. "That's it. That's the warning sign." She quickly took pictures with her tablet. "The old stories say the marks must be read together. They tell how the sky thieves work." In the distance, the alien dome pulsed with light. A small ship rose from it and headed toward the city. Do-Yun's phone buzzed with a message from Juwoo. "Don't trust Yuno Park. Something happened to him. Coming home soon. Be ready." Byul looked at the message, then at the marks on the ground. "We need to understand these warnings," she said, "because I think the sky thieves have already started stealing our world." 3 days after Thundercloud's strange behavior, the world changed forever. Do-Yun sat in his cabin, watching the news on his tablet. The herd had been acting stranger each day. They stayed close together, moving as one, with Thundercloud always facing the sky. "Breaking news," said the reporter. "Strange objects have entered Earth's atmosphere. Officials confirm they are not from our planet." Do-Yun's phone buzzed. It was Juwoo. "Are you seeing this?" she asked. Her face looked pale. Behind her, people ran back and forth in the space station. "Yes," Do-Yun said. "Are you safe up there?" "For now. These ships just appeared, like they came out of nowhere. They're all over Earth now." The news showed videos from cities around the world. Giant silver ships hung in the sky above New York, Beijing, London, and more. They were smooth and rounded, like water drops frozen in metal. "What do they want?" Do-hyun asked. Before Ju could answer, her screen changed. Now everyone on Earth saw the same image. A face appeared, almost human, but not quite. Its skin was pale blue. Its eyes were large and dark. When it spoke, its mouth barely moved. "People of Earth," it said in perfect English, "we are the collective. We come in peace and friendship. We have watched your world for a long time. Now we wish to meet you." Do-hyun felt a chill. The voice sounded friendly, but something about it felt wrong. The message continued with the alien explaining how they wanted to share knowledge and culture. When it finished, the regular news returned. "They're asking for representatives from Earth to meet with them," Ju said. "The United Government is sending Yoon-ho Park." Do-hyun knew that name. Yoon-ho Park was Earth's top diplomat, known for making peace between fighting nations. "What do you think?" he asked his sister. "I don't know, but those energy patterns I found, they matched the ships exactly." Later that day, Do-hyun took his rover to check on the herd. They were all gathered on a high hill. None of them were eating. They just stood, watching the sky. Do-hyun parked and walked up to join them. Thundercloud stood at the front of the group, his huge body tense. "What's wrong, old friend?" Do-hyun asked. In the distance, something flashed in the sky. A small silver ship, much smaller than the ones on TV, was flying low over the plains. It was heading straight for the reserve. Do-hyun's heart beat faster. He grabbed his binoculars and watched as the ship slowed down above them. It hovered there, making no sound. Then something strange happened. Thundercloud stepped forward from the herd. He lowered his massive head to the ground, then raised it. He did this 3 times. Then he pawed at the dirt, making marks that looked almost like writing. The ship stayed for 5 more minutes, then zoomed away. That night, Do-hyun examined the marks Thundercloud had made. They looked like simple lines and circles, but they were too regular to be random. His phone buzzed with a video call. "Ju, you won't believe what happened," he began. "Wait," she said. "I have news. I've been chosen to join the science team meeting the aliens." "What? How?" "They asked for experts in biology from different species. Since I study possible alien life, they picked me." She looked both excited and scared. "I leave for New Geneva tomorrow." "Be careful," Do-hyun said. "Something feels wrong about all this." "I know. Did you see Yoon-ho Park's meeting with them? He's acting like they're the best thing that ever happened to Earth." On his tablet, Do-hyun pulled up the video of Earth's diplomat shaking hands with the blue-skinned alien. Yoon-ho was smiling widely, but his eyes looked strange, almost empty. "The collective says they've been studying us for centuries," Ju continued. "They say they want to help us save our planet's wildlife." Do-hyun looked out his window at the night sky. "If they care so much about our animals, why does Thundercloud weep when their ships fly over?" In the distance, he could hear the bison making low sounds, like they were mourning something that was already lost. The morning sun rose over the Montana plains. Do-hyun Kim stepped out of his small cabin and took a deep breath of the cool air. His watch showed 5:30 a.m., perfect time to check on the herd. Do-hyun was not an ordinary park ranger. He was the guardian of the last genetically pure bison herd on Earth. In the year 2157, such herds were rare treasures. Most animals now lived only in zoos, or as changed versions of their old selves. He pulled on his worn jacket and grabbed his field pack. Inside were his water bottle, notebook, and the special feed mix he had made. The bison didn't need the feed, but it helped him get close to them. "Another day watching over you, my friends," he said to himself as he walked toward his small rover. The vehicle hummed to life with a soft electric buzz. Do-hyun drove slowly across the grassland. He knew every hill and valley of this reserve like he knew the lines on his own hands. For 12 years, this had been his home. 20 minutes later, he spotted them. 37 bison moved slowly across the golden grass. Their dark brown bodies stood out against the morning landscape. Do-hyun parked his rover and continued on foot. The largest bull, a massive creature Do-hyun had named Thundercloud, lifted his head as the ranger approached. The animal's eyes seemed to hold wisdom beyond what any animal should have. "Good morning, old friend," Do-hyun said softly. He pulled out his tablet and began recording notes. The herd seemed calm today, but Thundercloud kept looking at the sky. Do-hyun's phone buzzed. The screen showed his sister's face. "Ju-woo," he answered. "You're calling early." Ju Kim's face looked tired. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and the space station lights gave her skin a blue glow. "I need to talk to you about something strange," she said. "Are you with the herd?" "Yes." "Why? Have they been acting different lately, especially in the last 3 days?" Do-hyun thought about it. Thundercloud has been restless, looking at the sky a lot. "How did you know?" Ju-woo's face grew serious. "Because I found something up here that makes no sense. As an exobiologist on Earth's orbital research station, Ju-woo studied possible life forms from other planets. I've detected energy patterns entering our solar system," she continued. "They don't match anything we know. And each time they appear, they seem to affect certain animal groups on Earth." "What kind of effects?" Do-hyun asked, watching as Thundercloud pawed at the ground. "Dolphins changing their swimming patterns, bird flocks making strange shapes, and bison becoming restless." Ju looked away from the screen, checking something. "The science team doesn't believe me. They say my equipment is broken." Do-hyun knelt beside Thundercloud, who had laid down on the grass. The ranger put a gentle hand on the animal's side. "I believe you. Something is bothering them. Keep watching them, brother. Record everything strange. I'll send you the times when these energy waves are strongest. See if the herd reacts." After they hung up, Do-hyun sat in the grass beside the massive bull. The morning sun was higher now, warming the plains. In the distance, storm clouds were gathering. "What do you see, old friend?" Do-hyun whispered. "What are you trying to tell us?" Thundercloud turned his great head toward the ranger. For a moment, Do-hyun felt like the animal was trying to speak to him. Then something happened that made Do-hyun's heart stop. A single tear formed in the corner of Thundercloud's eye. It rolled down the rough hide of the bison's face and dropped onto the ground. Do-hyun had studied these animals for years. He knew their behaviors, their sounds, their habits. But he had never, not once, seen a bison weep. He quickly grabbed his tablet and started recording. His hand shook slightly as Thundercloud let out a low, mournful sound that Do-hyun had never heard before. In orbit high above them, Ju-woo's instruments began to light up with alerts. The energy patterns were back, stronger this time, heading straight for Earth. And on the plains of Montana, as if they could sense what was coming, the last true bison herd began to run.